What is up, guys? I'm Tiger Arcade, and I am excited and honored to be the first person to introduce you to the Blipblox SK2. So we're going to be going over the basic features of the Blipblox SK2. So right off the bat, you're going to notice these crazy LED lights going on. And if you're wondering what's going on here, it's more than just a little show for the kids to get entertained by. It's a way for you to understand what's going on here with signal flows, where you are in menus, with dialing, and so on and so forth. There's a great manual that can teach you about what all of that does. So let's talk about what's displayed here, okay? So now you'll already notice, compared to the original Blipblox, it's labeled, right? Just like the After Dark edition. However, this also shows you arrows with signal flow. You got different colors. This one has the same synth engine as the After Dark. It's like the new and improved version for the original Blipblox. Right here you'll notice it's labeled tempo. It is a throttle. You know, I've never seen a throttle on a synthesizer before, but it's the first thing everyone goes towards, right? You just want to grab that and you want to start moving these around, seeing what they do. And it's fun, even for adults. You'll notice here you have an envelope release. And if you know anything about envelopes, basically when you have sound, when it starts and stops, the release is how long kind of the sound takes to come in and out. That's a really important one. You have your volume knob. That's definitely an essential one to teach your child that, because they like to crank that, or they crank it the wrong way and they wonder, hey, what happened to my sound? For us adults, you know, that's a critical one. You have a speaker, which is a really nice high quality speaker. The sound comes in a lot better, a lot more clear, crisp than the original. You come down here, you have Soundfreak. And I think the only way to really demonstrate what that is by actually playing with this, okay? So we're gonna engage it. I have it all disengaged right now, and we can explain all that as we go along here, but I have turned off the sequencer. That's something that you might want to do when you utilize MIDI, but let's turn back on the sequencer, okay? There's over 400 sequence patterns, melodies ready to go, you know, for all of the inexperienced or people that just want to have something ready to go right off the bat. But again, you can disable that, but I'm going to turn it back on by holding these two buttons down. So you have a button called Soundfreak, and when you play it, it just makes everything go random and crazy in the pattern. It's actually kind of fun to you just hold it down, and then it just goes out, it goes berserk. That one can be fun for, I'd say, live real-time settings. And I'm saying that this can be a literal, useful instrument on live shows, live settings, okay? So right now it's just repeating the same sequence over and over again. I have the drums turned off. Now I engage the drums. Have sequence. If you press this, it will change the sequences. Again, there's over 400 different sequences on here. That's an upgrade from the original and the After Dark. This has the most possible so far, and some other few hidden surprises. So we'll turn that off, okay? Now, again, we have here Control 1 and Control 2, and you know, that sounds kind of vague, like, okay, Control 1, Control 2. I see arrows going to the oscillator. What does that do? So, kind of to put it simple, the controls select the input for the oscillator's modulation, okay? Each time you press it, it's going to cycle through different modulations, like envelope, LFO1, LFO2, knob only modulation, and you know, that's exactly what happens with Control 2 as well. They both do the same thing, but it's kind of like for their side, that side, right? So now let's talk about the oscillator here. There are over 16 different waveforms available for you, okay? Let's turn back on the oscillator, or the sequencer, I mean, and let's show these different types of waveforms that there are here. You can hear the sound coming in and out again. There are LFOs going on here. This thing has 2 LFOs, so you can get some really wacky sounds. But again, you got different waveforms. You just keep cycling until you find one that you like. Okay, that one sounds fun. Sounds kind of square-like, right? All right. Cool. So if you notice that sound kind of faded out a little bit, that's because I had the release all the way dialed over. This thing actually has the capability to have resonance and a filter. So over here you have the filter, and then you have 3 different filter mods. As you just press it, it cycles through the different filter mods. And if you hold down this button, let's demonstrate. If you hold down this button, this is how you play with the resonance. And it kind of triggers it, so you have to kind of get it where you want it right when you start. Hear how that got a little sharper? And if I let go, it's set to that setting that where we left it. And this is the filter. So let's take down that resonance. Right? Okay, and then we have our 3 different filters, filter mods. Okay, so we're back to where we started again. The randomize button, if you press that, it randomizes all of the settings on here to something entirely different, okay? And let's try that by demonstrating. Okay, see how all the settings just changed on here? Sometimes that's fun if you're not liking where you're at. You can just kind of keep hitting that until you're somewhere where you want to be, right? See, that sounds nice. And it looks like it continues to keep that sequence going that you all initially had. If you do want to change that sequence, hit that sequencer button. Right? So you have LFO1, Mod 1, Mod Attack, Mod 2, LFO2. So again, the LFO knobs are going to change the speed of the low frequency oscillator. You have 2 of them. In the simplest of terms, it just kind of makes it go wobbling in and out, the sound. It's really fun to play with, and you can get some really wacky sounds going here. Again, this will determine how fast that goes. Okay, so that's what these are going to do. The mods basically are going to control how much modulation is applied to the oscillator's first modulation input, you know, or the second. Now, the mod attack, the one in the middle, controls how quickly the modulation envelope ramps up. If you turn it clockwise, it ramps up the envelope slowly. If you turn it counterclockwise, it ramps up the envelopes quickly. To demonstrate, let's turn this on. Subtle, right? You hear that a little bit. Kind of hear a little difference there. This is a goofy sequence, man. I feel like I'm in some like goofy cartoon bouncing up and down. You can speed that up. Let's turn that off. This is something that's designed to grow with you as you learn about it. The manual is really helpful to teach you everything that you might want to know, but now you can also see displayed while you sit there with your child, or you sit there by yourself like me in my studio. I've already played around with this, recorded some stuff. It's really fun when you start implementing MIDI. I feel like that's like the next level. And then also playing with just the drums. You can really create some fun, interesting things with the drums triggered on here on their own, playing along with something that you might have sequenced. That's really fun to do. So what we're going to do is do a solo drum. I'm going to turn back on the sequencer. And then we're going to hold down kick and sequence. Cool. Now all we hear are the drums. It's just playing some patterns that are already built into it. Now, there's a drum edit mode, guys. It goes beyond just this. If you might have already noticed, you're like, I thought I just heard some different drum sounds. Right, you did. Let's check that out. So in order to do that, you'll do snare and randomize. Okay? Let me show you. This part is actually really fun. Okay. So what it did is, what happened here is it went to where I had these dials turned. It immediately like triggered that, right? So these are pitch. Both of these. This is pitch for the kick. This is pitch for the snare. There's more. Okay? As you turn these, it changes the different sounds you can choose. And yes, you can carry that over to your sequence pattern or your MIDI that you're using. So okay, so what I've done is I've just disabled it all because I want to show you and demonstrate as I go through these. Let's listen. Right? You hear a kick. You hear different kicks. Got some crazy stuff in here. That's not just kick and snare. There's additional sounds. This would be really cool to sample, guys, and you know, use it externally. Right? You got some vocal samples in here, and you're like, wait, what? Let me show you the pitch. It's kind of fun. And you're like, whoa, that's pretty cool, man. I wasn't expecting that. Let's check out the snare. And I'm not gonna lie, there's actually some really good drum sounds in this.
Make some noise. Party live. Party live.
Sounds like he's saying dance in Spanish. Bailar.
Party live.
I could be wrong.
Are you feeling this? Get your hands up. Get your hands up.
Get your hands up. Get your hands up.
Get your hands up. Get your hands up. Get your hands up. Get your hands up.
So that's pretty much this in a nutshell. The one thing I have not mentioned yet, and that's there's a multi-delay effect built in. So we're going to turn back on the sequencer and the sounds so I can show you that. Here's a good one. Okay. It's Ctrl 1 held down and then using the filter throttle. Up all the way is having that multi-delay all the way up, and all the way down is that multi-delay off. Let's turn this down so you can really hear it, or the tempo. So that's just dry. That's your dry signal right there. Let's turn up that delay so that you can get an idea of what that sounds like. You can hear that now, can't you? So that's pretty much the Blipblox SK2's features in a nutshell. Next, I want to demonstrate MIDI. So what I got going on here now is I've set up my SQ1 by Korg. It's MIDI connected into this. So it's going to basically tell this what notes to play. I've turned off this one sequencer so that it focuses on just what I have now. And in addition, I thought it would be fun to just solo the drums to play along with what I have sequenced here, okay? So let's try that out. Now we have it connected to my key step. This is to show and demonstrate MIDI capabilities, but with a keyboard. There's no additional external effects. Everything that I've been showing you in this video is coming straight from this, other than when I use, some external MIDI device. There's no other sounds is what I'm getting at. So let's demonstrate this with the keyboard. So I want to demonstrate the octave range on the Blipblox SK2. So I've gone down on my key step about -4, you know, if you press that 4 times, it's kind of what happens. I'm going to start off on C, and we're just going to work our way up and see what happens. So that's as high as this thing can even go, which is pretty cool. Gives you a lot more variety here. Awesome. That is so cool, guys. This has so much depth, variety. This thing is so profound. It's way more than meets the eye. It's just some kid's toy. Toss it aside. Who cares, man? You know, this thing is very, very impressive. So I hope that you guys have found this video insightful, interesting, inspiring. The Blipblox SK2 is anticipated to be released by November 2022, announced first at this year's NOM, and the price is going to be pretty much what all the others have been going for, and that's around $200 US. Again, guys, don't underestimate this little synth thinking that this is just something maybe just for kids, you know, and someone had asked me one time on my original Blipblox video, why would I get this for my kid when I can just get them something else, right? Guys, I want you to kind of look through the eyes of a child and not what you think would be something practical like a Volca, right? I have let my children try out my Volca. You know, I have one right up there. It's something that, yes, they can understand over time, just like anything, but you have to consider the age range, right? With my kids, I have 3 girls. My oldest is 5. And so something like this, where, you know, she's going to start to learn how to read soon, and it's colorful, it's bright, the LED, you know, it's fun. It's going to grow with them. This is something that's portable, it's realistically priced, and it's so in-depth with so many features that as you start to unlock the other menus and teach them how to do that too, just kind of like playing a video game, you know? If my daughter can play Minecraft, my daughter can play with this synthesizer, right? If she can learn all the different buttons and controls, it's the same thing. Again, this is something that's more geared, it's been tested, studied, and proven effective for children and for adults like me, right? This thing is so awesome. I love all the samples, you know, the filters, the ability to have MIDI. That just brought it to a whole nother level for me to be able to integrate it with my other gear. I've already had a few jam sessions just playing, you know, along with my daughter. She can play along. She knows how it works. And, you know, it's not overly complicated. It's really, really not. I love the sound engine. It sounds so much better than the original. All of the drums, the effects, to have delay. Again, guys, everything that you heard, I didn't use any additional external post-processing, nothing. Everything you're hearing is straight from the Blipblox, other than me controlling it with a MIDI device on occasion, right? Guys, let me know if you have any questions about this Blipblox SK2 in the comments below. I totally understand where you're coming from. I have kids. I have my own gear as well. I know what it's like. You know, to be able to give them something that you don't have to necessarily worry about as much, you know, with leaving them with your gear, leaving them supervised. It's nice to kind of just let them loose with one of these. In the end, guys, the decision is yours. I love mine. I love the improvements here, you know, and if you already have an After Dark edition, this is kind of just a little bit of an upgrade, a step up above that. I encourage you guys to do your research, find out if this is the right device for you and your kids. Don't forget, guys, help out this channel grow. leave a like, subscribe, and thanks so much always for your support. And until next time, guys, peace.